Update 3. I spent my savings to put my boyfriend through medical school. At his graduation party, in front of his family, he announced he was leaving me, saying, "I'm a doctor now. I need a wife who isn't a waitress." I just smiled and toasted to his success. This morning, the medical board called him about his application, and my phone hasn't stopped ringing. He's not a doctor. He's just a guy with a six-figure student loan debt and a worthless piece of paper hanging on his wall. After blocking Alex and listening to his mom's tearful voicemails, I did something for myself. I opened my laptop, went to my bank account, and looked at years of statements. For hours, I went through every single transaction. I made a spreadsheet. I listed every tuition payment I'd made for him, every time I'd paid his rent, every textbook, every lab fee, every dollar I'd spent on his food and bills. It was painful. I saw a charge for a fancy dinner and remembered it was our anniversary, but we had to leave early because he got a call from a study group. I saw the charge for the plane ticket I bought him to fly to an interview in another state and remembered I ate ramen noodles for a week to afford it. Each line item was a memory of me putting him first. By the time I was done, the spreadsheet was 6 pages long. I put in a formula to add it all up. Then I added a little bit for interest because why not? The final number stared back at me from the screen, $214,350. Seeing it all laid out like that, it wasn't just money. It was my life, my 20s, my own dreams, deferred and denied, all in a single cell on a spreadsheet. I printed it out, and it felt heavier than any textbook he ever owned. Last night, I finally texted Chloe back. I thanked her for her kind words. Then I wrote, "Your parents want to talk to me. Tell them I will meet them tomorrow at noon at the Hawthorne Grill. That's my restaurant, my home turf." I told her they could come alone. I'm not nervous. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just ready. They want to talk about fixing things. Okay, let's talk about what Alex needs to fix, and he can start by paying me back. Second update. So, the big meeting happened yesterday. I got to the restaurant about an hour early for my shift, but I told my manager I needed to handle something first. He knows the whole story and he's been amazing. He sat me in the best booth in the back corner, the one that's kind of private, and said, "Take all the time you need. We got your back." A few of the other waitresses gave me these little thumbs up as they walked by. It felt good not to be alone in this. I sat there with my folder of evidence and the info sitting on the table next to me, and I just drank a coffee and waited. For the first time, I felt like I was the one in control. His parents showed up exactly at noon. Robert, the dad, was holding the door open for Eleanor, the mom, and they both had these grim, serious looks on their faces. They looked like they were walking into a legal deposition, not a restaurant. They sat down across from me, and Eleanor immediately tried to put on this warm motherly face, but her eyes were all wrong. "Clara, thank you for meeting us," she started, reaching across the table to try and take my hand. I just moved it to my coffee cup. "We know you're hurt. We are so sorry for what Alex said. It was unforgivable. But he's our son, and his whole future is about to be destroyed. He's worked so hard for this." "Has he?" I asked, my voice totally flat. "Has he worked hard?" Robert jumped in, his voice low and serious. "What my wife is trying to say, Clara, is that we need to be rational. People make mistakes, especially when they're young. An accusation like this, even if it's retracted, can leave a permanent stain. You're alleging serious academic fraud. That's a form of defamation if you can't back it up with concrete proof." He was trying to scare me, the lawyer doing his lawyer thing. I just stared at him for a second. Then, without saying a word, I pushed the folder across the table toward him. "Here's my concrete proof," I said. "Why don't you both take a look, and then we can talk about who is defaming whom." Robert opened it, and Eleanor leaned over his shoulder. I just sat there sipping my coffee, watching their faces. It was actually kind of fascinating. I watched Robert's eyes scan the first page, which was the email chain of Alex and his friends arranging to buy the final exam. His jaw tightened. I saw Eleanor's hand fly to her mouth, and she made this little gasping sound. She looked at me, her eyes wide with horror, and I just gave her a little nod like, "Yep, it's all real." They spent the next 10 minutes in dead silence, just turning the pages. They saw the proof of the wire transfers to the resident who leaked the test. They saw the side-by-side comparison of Alex's research paper and the thesis from the Swedish doctor, with all the stolen paragraphs highlighted in yellow. It was undeniable. By the time they got to the last page, Robert's whole body had slumped. The lawyer was gone. He just looked like a defeated old man. I didn't know," Eleanor whispered, her voice cracking. "I had no idea." "Well, now you do," I said. That's when all hell broke loose. The door to the restaurant flew open, and there was Alex. He must have been waiting outside. He looked like a mess. His clothes were wrinkled. His eyes were bloodshot, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. He spotted us in the back and stomped over, his face all twisted with rage. "What are you doing?" he yelled, pointing at his parents. "Are you seriously talking to her? She's the one who did this." He then turned to me, and his voice got dangerously low. You are a vindictive, evil person. You're destroying my life because I broke up with you." A couple of my coworkers started to walk over, but I just gave them a little shake of my head. "I could handle this. I'm not doing this because you broke up with me, Alex," I said calmly. "I'm doing this because you're a fraud. You're a cheater and a liar, and you don't deserve to be a doctor." "I do deserve it," he screamed, and he actually slammed his fist on the table, making the silverware jump. "I spent years of my life studying." "No," I said, my voice cutting through his tantrum. "I spent years of my life working so you could study. And it turns out you weren't even doing that. You were just buying the answers." I tapped the folder. "It's all in there. Your parents just saw it. The party's over." He looked from the folder to his parents' heartbroken faces, and something in him seemed to snap. He started trying to grab the folder, yelling, "You can't prove anything. That's all fake." His dad, Robert, put a hand on his arm. "Alex, stop. Just stop." "No," Alex shook him off. "She's trying to poison you against me. She's just a bitter waitress who couldn't stand that I was going to be someone important." And that was it. That was the lie. I reached down into my bag and pulled out the invoice, the 6-page spreadsheet I had made. I stood up and spread it out on the table in front of him, right next to the folder of evidence. "You're right, Alex. I am a waitress," I said, my voice loud and clear. "And this is my bill. For every shift I worked to pay for your apartment, for every textbook I bought you, for the $500 I gave you for that interview suit, the one you're probably still paying off your credit card for. See this line item here? That's the necklace from my dead grandmother that I sold to fix your car. And this one, that's the dental surgery I had to put off for a year so you could take your board exams. It's all here. 6 years of my life, my work, my body breaking down, all so you can become this big important man." I leaned in closer.